Today, we're going to talk about why people rely so much on their networks when hiring. In an ideal world, we would go outside of our networks and find the candidates that are the most qualified to join our team, not just our friends of friends. And this is obviously an even bigger opportunity in the remote world where we can hire people from around the world. So we're going to be reductionist today and blame this problem on Indeed's UX design. So first we'll describe the UX issues and then I'll relate this back to the bigger societal issue. Here we go. And this will be quick because you'll see the problem very quickly. In fact, you'll see 235 of the problems. Okay, so on Thursday, I posted a job. It is now Monday, and I am very impressed with how many candidates Indeed was able to get me, but I'm very overwhelmed. Look at how many candidates and emails that I got in relation to this job posting. Oh, wow. And maybe you'd say, Kristen, this is of course just email alerts. Should you go and check the app? Maybe the app will be better. And not really. So they tell me you've got 190 candidates and give me the funny thing, invite more candidates, as if that is what I need. In their candidate app, they have a list which allows me to sort on apply date or alphabetical. Very interesting and very overwhelming again. So you'd say, Kristen, I would imagine that they would have some way to sort on skills, and you are correct. So there is assessments, and assessments are basically skill challenges. I did one, I gave people an assessment, and lo and behold, a few people returned it. This is what it looks like. So Brett sent me an assessment. I can view full results. This is Brett's assessment. I can even download it. How cool. An audio recording of his response. Wow. What is the problem though? The problem is that from this assessment, I can't actually find any of the other assessments. And for a weird reason, I can't filter, or I can't easily find a way to filter on the people who sent me assessments. And so what this basically is a long list of candidates that I was sent. And what it really is in behavioral science terms is choice overload. This is classic choice overload. So having a lot of choices is not always bad. By the way, behavioral scientists get a bad rap for saying, all choice is bad. That's not true. It is bad, though, when the task is hard or difficult, meaning you can't really figure out which one is better than the other. That's when choice overload is bad. And what does bad mean? So bad basically means you take longer to make a decision, and likely the decision that you make after you do is suboptimal. You can kind of see it's very unlikely that I would magically pick the right candidate and pick the most skilled applicant from this long list. And possibly, and even worse, it means you don't make a choice. That when you have choice overload, you stick with the status quo. And for Indeed, this really resonates. There's no real way that I'd be able to spend the amount of time needed to review and dig through each of these candidates. And so for what should I do? Well, for one, I'll procrastinate. And that's exactly what I did. I waited at least 4 days to dive into this. And second, and the punchline is I'll just ask my friends for referrals. They'd give me a few candidates that are already vetted. This seems like way easier than reviewing 190 applicants. Okay, so imagine if instead, to really solve this choice overload problem, Indeed had showed me 199 candidates that applied, but just gave me 4 representative candidates and asked me to choose between these candidates. And then they would know my preferences, and they would show me 4 more candidates and ask me to, choose 2 to interview. I could even imagine a world where they said, if you don't interview one in the next week, we won't show you any more candidates. Now, all of a sudden, a very difficult task of reviewing 190 candidates is just a task of reviewing 2 sets of 4 candidates. So a popular example that behavioral scientists, specifically Barry Schwartz, loves to use is Trader Joe's. And I love this idea that basically Trader Joe's offers a limited set of SKUs. On average, grocery stores offer 35,000 options apparently, but Trader Joe's offers 3,000. So they have an approach to choice overload that is limited, and it's arguably worked out for them. They have $13 billion in revenue. I would say that Indeed is not the only hiring platform that is at fault for this. In 2021, I posted a job on LinkedIn, and oh wow, what choice overload as well. So these job platforms are going for quantity over quality. And this is basically where we're going to tie it back to the broader point, which is when things feel hard, what do? Nothing. We tend to opt out of the whole thing. And in this case, we may opt out by finding an easier answer, which is asking our network for help. Doing this once in a while, by the way, isn't bad. It's a reasonable way to manage a workforce. But obviously, at scale, this is a less effective way to hire. You limit the diverse perspectives that you could get on your team, as our network does tend to be people who are more similar to us than not. And so, personally, I would want to see a hiring app that gives you lots and lots of candidates, but then narrows down to candidates and gives you some specific deadlines or push to continue your narrowing journey. And I'm very excited to see how AI can help make us better recommendations on who I need and then manage the reviews for me. Could AI just be looking at all of these assessments and narrowing it down? And so all I have to do is wake up in the morning and an interview is already scheduled for me with Brett. So, and maybe I'll end by saying, hire me. That's a joke, but kind of. So Rational Labs is a consulting firm. And if you do like these teardowns, you may also like working with us. And so feel free to give me a call.